Alright, what's up, y'all? Today I'll be doing a recent reads slash favorite video, favorite books I've read so far in 2019, and I'm gonna break it up into two parts. So right now we're doing part one, and part two will be tomorrow. Alright, so the first four books that I'll be talking about will be contemporaries, and I'll give like a brief description, plus whether they're, and I'll also give like a rating for the books. So, first book is Damaged. This small little book here is about a man who cheats on his wife with like a younger woman. We've all heard that story before. And he ends up getting caught and has to live by himself by the end of the book. This book is Want to Go Private. And let me give you a better angle. There we go. And so this book is about a young girl who ends up going online and meeting this older man, even though he portrays himself as a younger dude online, and she ends up running away with him. But the police end up finding her before he can do any serious damage. And now we have Her Body and Other Parties. Bum, bum. It's a small collection of different stories about women and what they had to go through in their youth and in their adulthood, and in their job, their career, their life, and how they were able to overcome that. And now we have Girl in Pieces. It's a book about a girl named Riley who ends up cutting herself because she can't figure out what's wrong with her and why she's in the hospital that she's in, because she's left there forever. But she ends up getting out, and that part just messes her up throughout the whole story. But you see her slowly, character grows and she matures, and she finally finds herself again. So that is what I have for contemporary. Alright, so now that we finished the contemporary, now we're going to get into the autobiography slash poetry slash fantasy, because I don't really read a lot of those, so I'm going to combine these four into one. So the first autobiography I read was Rosa Parks, and it's a short little book that kind of shortens what she did, but it gives you a broader picture of how important she was to history. And then Dear Midnight is a poetry book that I got off of Instagram. And it's just short little poems about the moon, the sun, the ocean, and how they affect our lives. And now into the fantasy, which is more like a series. So we have The Swan Riders, and then we also have The Scorpion Rules, which is the last book. So these two books talk about young kids who end up being put into this precepture, and while they're in this precepture, they have to stay there, they have to live there, they cannot communicate with anyone from the outside. It's not allowed. It's almost like the Hunger Games just mixed with the Divergent series. And so they try their best to use whatever they have, but they end up escaping later in the end and finding out that what they've been told has been a complete lie this whole time. And so they're trying to come back from that and trying to actually live out life as a kid. And that is for this section. Now we're going to go on to our crime section. Alright, so now we're on the manga series. I have 3 different mangas, so I have 3 different series. So the first series is the most popular, Death Note. If you haven't heard of Death Note, you probably heard of the Netflix series version, which is okay. I prefer the manga over it. But pretty much it's about this boy who can pretty much write a name in a book, sort of like you take a sheet of paper like this, and then you write somebody's name in it. And then on top of that, once you write that person's name, they die within 30 seconds or 45 seconds, however you told them to do it. And so he ends up getting carried away with it, and the FBI plus his dad ends up trying to find out who's doing this. And so in the end, we're trying to figure out how close is he going to come and how far is he willing to go. And then the second series is the Prince series. So far, only on book one, but I don't think I'll finish it just because it's not that entertaining. And then you have the Blackbird series, which is when two kids from their past come back together and they didn't realize that they were kids because their girl's memory was wiped once she hit a certain age. And so far, they still haven't told you what that age was, but she ends up meeting him and certain memories come back together and they kind of try to figure out who did it, why they did it, and it's pretty interesting. Alright, so Two Can Keep a Secret is about a girl that comes home because her mom ends up being put into a hospital for her mental care. And so she goes back to the town and a murder ends up happening, and it's one of the homecoming queens. And this happens every single year, every single time. But this time it's different because when she comes back to town, it's one of the guy's friends that she ends up making who ends up getting blamed. And then it's this whole whodunit type of series and trying to figure out, did he really do it? Did he not do it? Who really did it? And why would they do it? And so if you like Pretty Little Liars, if you like Riverdale, if you like the Nancy Drew series, you'll probably like that book. And then finally, but not least, Talent of God. So this book is a book about a young girl who ends up finding out that she has not magic powers, but she has powers that can help her fight for her city because there's a man who's coming from hell who brings out evil in everyone. If they drink this green liquid in it, the one thing that you keep yourself from is the exact thing that you want to do. And so he ends up getting everyone turned against her. But like in the title, she uses the talent, which is a sword. And she uses her sword to fight off the demons, fight off the evil dude, and ended up winning her city back. And so it's a really interesting way of putting the Bible into a book and not really feeling like you're reading a Bible necessarily. And so those are the 16 books that I read today. Well, not today, but this year. And I hope you guys have a lovely evening. Peace.